Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of The High Ground. We are here on behalf of Silent Podcast, so we are anything but silent, and we're here to recap the 5th episode of the Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi, the redeeming 5th episode, I will say. I'm here with my co-hosts Isaiah and Naomi, and we're back with our special guest Matt, who joined us last week. How's everybody doing today?
The force is within me right now. So we're
good. You feel it flowing through you?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome.
No, it's good to be here. Good vibes.
It's good to have you. How did everybody feel about this episode? Before we jump into the specifics, I know we had a lot of really negative things to say about the last episode, and spoiler alert, I don't have very many negative things to say at all about this episode, so I'm excited about it.
Ooh, well, don't worry. I'll have some negative things to say about this.
Okay, great. Yeah, we need some negativity here, and I don't think it's going to come from me this week. So
I drank my Haterade and I joined the podcast. So
amazing. Okay, good. Good. I'm very excited.
I have some notes, but
yeah, I have some notes.
But not in-depth hatred. So
Okay. Isaiah, we haven't seen you, I think, since what, episode 2 or 3, maybe? How are you feeling so far about the series?
I mean, I feel like it should be called Darth Vader because, like, he's still in the show every episode. You know, like I'm loving it. I had my opinions last episode, but I think this one was dope, and I think I predicted one of the outcomes. I mean, obviously this isn't the last one, but like I felt like Homegirl was going to turn good, and I mean, I got what I thought. So
yeah, you did predict that. I think in episode 2, you said that she was gonna come back and be. I don't know if she's good necessarily. Yeah. I don't know if I would say she's still not really good. She probably killed a lot of people, but she had, she had some reasons.
I'm sure we'll get into it, but like she definitely didn't have like a normal, which I liked. She didn't have like a normal redemption arc. It was kind of like her own thing, which is really cool, kind of cool and unique.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, let's jump into it. I'm excited because we start with a prequel flashback, and you guys know I'm a prequel stan, and we see like pre-episode 2, had to be pre-episode 2 because we saw what happened at the end of episode 2, with Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker with his Padawan braid, and we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi's mullet era, and we get to see some Jedi training back in Coruscant. When the episode first opened, Matt and I watched it together, and I was like, "Is that Coruscant?" And Matt's like, "I don't think so." And then we saw Anakin turn around. I was like, "It's Coruscant!" And I was so excited.
The buildings looked really small, didn't they? Like,
they did look a little
like an industrial park.
Yeah, it did look a little different.
Coruscant's a huge city, so whatever.
So it was a different view.
They were looking at a different window. Of Coruscant.
Yeah,
it's a more expensive part of Coruscant. The Jedi bought a lot of property there early on, and over time, it's really grown in market value.
Are we putting like Star Wars like real estate lore now? Like, is this what?
Star Wars gentrification lore for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to pull up the Star Wars Zillow page and check out the real estate on the different planets.
I wouldn't put
Tatooine. I heard is still affordable. I mean, we know Obi-Wan upgraded his real estate situation.
I definitely wouldn't put it past them because of the episode 8 selling like the gun dealers and the war manufacturers. They brought that in, so why not real estate? Let's do it.
That'll be the next movie. That's what the Rian Johnson trilogy is about, is the booming real estate industry in the Star Wars universe.
it's just what's the Bravo real estate show?
Selling
$1 million listings.
Yeah. It's $1 million listings. Tatooine.
That's
what
I
want to.
I'd watch that. I'd watch it.
I'd watch a spin-off show of that.
Yeah, for sure. So we get some Jedi training here, and they intertwine this throughout the episode, which I am obsessed with. This whole part, I think it's amazing. They kind of allude to it being almost like a flashback or something present in both the minds of Vader and Obi-Wan, which I also really liked. But this vibe of Anakin, and Isaiah, I know you watched the Clone Wars. Matt, I know you did. Naomi, I don't think you did, right? But this gives me like Clone Wars Anakin vibes versus like whiny prequel Anakin vibes, and I loved that. He's like a little bit more confident. He's not like crying about anything yet, and he's just like, you really get to see his power here, and I just thought it was awesome.
Seeing this is making me wonder, when they do their Ahsoka series, are we going to get like some Anakin Ahsoka action on screen live? So
I would maybe die if that happened, but he did. Hayden Christensen did. I called him Anakin. Hayden Christensen did say that or they asked him that at Star Wars Celebration. He was like, you never know. So give me flashbacks of Anakin and Ahsoka. I might actually just not make it through.
They confirmed he's in the show, I think, right?
I don't think they confirmed it. I think he alluded to it.
Oh, okay.
That would be cool.
I mean, he's trying to get that. He's trying to get his SAG health insurance back. The man is on camera performing, and I'm so excited. I am
here for the redemption arc.
He was less snivelly prequels Anakin because he had no fucking lines. And I'm not saying that because I think that Hayden Christensen's a bad actor. What I'm saying is they didn't give him anything to say, and so inherently he looks cooler because he didn't have to deliver any bullshit line that he normally has to do in the prequels that makes him look like an idiot.
He spoke a bit, but I thought he did a good job.
Yeah.
I beat you.
Yeah.
Defeat.
Yeah. We'll talk about all of those little intertwining parts here because I think they did a really awesome job of even weaving it through the episode and really just kind of tying it to the story that we're seeing now. And I think it filled up a really good plot hole, but we'll get to that point when we get to it. But after this happens, we flash to Darth Vader on the ship, and he's bringing in Reva and onto his ship. And he says, she tells him that the tracker worked. They're going to Jabin. They're going to get Obi-Wan. And he's like, listen, you killed it. You just kneel here. And then he makes her the Grand Inquisitor. What did you guys think of that? That felt obviously we'll see how it ends up for her at the end, but that felt like a little, I don't know, too soon for me, but I guess we know why,
it felt hypocritical because Palpatine literally did the same thing to him. I mean, he doesn't know that yet, but just it's easy beginner's level of manipulation. I didn't expect her to stay in that position way too long.
Yeah.
It was so easy. She was getting used. The moment, I don't know if it was before or after this moment, but when we started seeing the Order 66 flashbacks, I was like, nah, yeah, I see what direction this is going.
Yeah. Rough look out for our girl here, Reva. So they end up going to Jabin. I wrote in my notes, the guy comes out and says we got her, but then we learn his name is Rogan. I don't think we learned his name in the last episode, unlike Wade's name. Shout out to Wade, rest in peace again. I was expecting them all to be like, where's Wade? Yeah, moment of silence for Wade. I really wanted them to be like, what happened to Wade? But they, I guess Wade is forgotten. Yeah. I was shocked to see how many people were here on Jabin because when we left, there were literally 3 people and all of them but Rogan got on the ship with them. Oh no, Rogan did get on the ship with them, didn't he? Because he was like, where's Wade? Yeah, there was no one else there. So I don't know. I guess they were gone for a while. I have no idea. Haja's there. He just appeared out of nowhere.
It was a whole lot of, it was like a huge character dump for sure. It was faster.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of reminds me of all those scenes in Marvel movies where they're it reminds me of you remember is it Captain Marvel where she's suddenly there's just a spaceship filled with civilians and you're like, wow, this is really affecting real people in alien costumes. And it's where were these people? We have not seen them until right now. They are now being affected. I think the funniest part of all this for me is that they're okay, well, it's the path that are helping force sensitive people. But everybody is suffering under the hands of the Empire. Mm-hmm. So it's just a funny way of being okay, well, these people are force sensitive, so they're special, so we should protect them extra much. And it's all kind of goofy. I think it felt like we could be setting up much more of the rebel alliance and the rebellion that is uprising in these scenes. And instead, we're just kind of getting but we have to protect the Jedi who definitely will not come back in the next 10 years. They're not, they're not sprouting up. We know this. No.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I wrote later on in my notes, when they first start battling, I'm like, is this really the first official battle of the rebellion against the Empire? It's one of the first, at least, that we see on screen of the rebellion and I guess soon to be the rebellion. I don't know if these people end up being rebels. We know Leia does. But the rest of them, I don't really know. But this is kind of the first time we really see them clash like this on screen, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, to your point, also, why didn't we just see them all rise up using the Force if they're all Force sensitive instead of? I mean, obviously they're not trained and they don't have lightsabers, but you'd think all of that Force in a room could have done.
We don't ask questions over here.
Yeah, okay. I guess. Yeah, we're getting too deep.
Is it confirmed that everyone there was Force sensitive? Did they say that, or are they just random?
Is it
yeah, I guess maybe just the kids or. maybe not everybody, because Haja's there and he's like, well, I got into a fight with the scary lady Inquisitor and now I'm wanted by the Empire. So maybe it's just people who are wanted by the Empire who are passing through, because he's not Force sensitive.
Right.
They really booked Kumail for 2 days and said, all right, here's your next day.
Yeah. When he popped up on screen, I was like, how the fuck did he get here? So I don't know. That was a little bit of like a shoehorn in.
Him, was like, what are you doing here? He's like, I don't know. It's like,
I don't know.
So we don't know.
Yeah. My agent just booked me for this shooting day. I don't really know what I'm doing here.
It's such a shame too that we didn't get like him and Reva interacting again. Wouldn't that have been funny to like have her like once again F his shit up, you know? Like that would have been great. But
I also like I recognize like a lot of actors in this scene. Like I mean, obviously like Haja was the dude from the Eternals. You got Ice Cube's son O'Shea Jackson here. I remember him from
that's Rogan, right? Is Ice Cube's son?
Yeah, he's Ice Cube's son. There was just like a whole lot of actors here. I was like, oh,
people were saying like Ice Cube Jr. like online, so I'm like, that's the only reason I knew. I was like, oh, that's his kid.
Yeah.
I knew he was in Straight Outta Compton. I've never seen it, but he looks like him.
He does look like a very good job, I thought. He's like, it's a shame because his character
in this episode, because the last episode he was awful.
Yeah, he was real bad last.
He was real. I mean, it wasn't him. It was the lines. It was the lines.
The lines are like, hey, I don't want to help this person. Will you help us? Okay, I will.
Now you got it. Yeah.
That was the best. He's like, I'll never help you. Actually, I will. It's like, oh, wait.
Yeah, but if you want my help, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rough.
No effort whatsoever.
None. He just had a change of heart really quickly, Rogan. So Obi-Wan is basically saying, you know, like, hey, I got to get Leia back to Alderaan. Finally, it's only been like, they've only been on a ship 15 times since. And Rogan is like, well, hold on. We need to get these people out. They've been waiting for months. And he's like, we only have a few hours because they held everything to get to Leia, which I don't really know why they only have a few hours, but they do. So Obi-Wan's like, whatever we can do to help, we will. And then we get a shot of Vader staring out a window, and I thought the shot was awesome. I guess he was in hyperspace on his way to Jabin, and I just thought like him looking out the window with the atmosphere like moving around him was just such a cool shot. There were a lot of really cool Vader shots this episode. I was pretty psyched on that.
The first time that popped up, Katie was like, "Why is his head floating?" I was like,
"No, not that part.
Oh, it's a different part.
That was a different part. That was a different part. Where his face is like in the moon. I was like, "Why is his head just like floating in space?"
Oh, that's later. My bad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then we go back to Jabin. Lola comes out of Leia's bag, still red. No one notices that she was blue and now she's red. And then she goes up and she's just like fucking shit up in the power thing. And then the door just closes and they're like, oh no, the door's closed. We can't get out. So Obi-Wan's at this time also just like walking around. He sees a bunch of inscriptions on the wall with the Jedi symbol. And then he looks over and he sees a ton of lightsabers and Jedi robes. So I guess what I'm assuming here is that the Jedi come, they shed all of their Jedi garb and take new clothes and whatever so they don't look like Jedi, which Obi-Wan should also do because he looks just like a Jedi. And take note, sir. And then they go on to their merry way and they get, maybe not merry, but they go on their way and they get new identities. Is that kind of what you guys picked up from that? Because at first I was like, why are there just a bunch of lightsabers here? But then like, oh, I guess they just had to leave them.
I kind of had to like make that like up in my head and just kind of accept whatever answer I came up with, you know?
Yeah. That's kind of what I just did while we were talking. I just made it up in my head.
That's basically, I mean, I don't know about new identities.
Thank you.
Also, I mean, what's up with Jedi thinking that like they can just put on a cloak and no one will like notice them whatsoever? Like they rarely change their clothes now. They just like, all right, let me throw a cloak. I'll go in hiding that way.
Jedi famously wear cloaks very often, so I don't know why. Yeah.
I would definitely be the first person I would go for. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah. Sorry, you're the only person in a cloak? Are you a Jedi?
I think our perception is very warped because our whole view of Star Wars is just purely Jedi. Every show is just fucking Jedi.
True.
And like in the galaxy, it's like hundreds of planets.
True.
Like they're so rare to be seen. Even like I'm going deep, but like, you know, Han Solo being like thinking like the Force and like Jedi religion, like made up stuff, you know, even though he should know.
I have gripes with that.
You know, they're like stationed in Coruscant. Like,
sorry, Chewbacca was in episode 3 with Yoda and their best friends for year. I'm sorry.
Chewbacca is very guarded. He doesn't talk about it.
Okay.
You didn't read the Chewbacca book?
So next time. Next one.
Anyway.
Sorry, Naomi, you were going to say something.
Sorry.
I'm trying to make like like a Chewbacca. I'm trying to make a book Chewbacca pun in my head.
That was good enough. I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
I was gonna say the best meme I saw from this episode was that photo of the lightsabers, and someone said General Grievous is rolling in his robot grave.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
which I laughed at. I thought that was really funny, but it's also like Chekhov's pile of lightsabers. Like, if you're gonna show a pile of lightsabers, why not give a bunch of Force-sensitive people some lightsabers? Yeah, even just have them like turn it on and throw it. Like, you know,
it doesn't. Yeah, I guess they never explained if they wouldn't, but like if those lightsabers were from that specific group of people waiting to go, or if they're just there over time. Because
I have to assume they're from they're like leftovers from people who have fled the planet, but
just sitting out in the open.
Yeah,
like that?
well, why are they just there?
I mean,
like,
maybe.
loosey-goosey?
I mean, wishful thinking. Maybe they're saving that for a future event. Maybe. Like I don't know.
That costs like what, $300 at Disney World? Those are expensive. They should be in a protective cabinet.
Yeah.
I really wonder if anyone picked up. I didn't go and look on Reddit because there are some keen eyes out there. Like if there's any recognizable hilts,
Yeah,
I'm sure that there is one, like some, I don't know, they threw it as an Easter egg, but I can't pick them out. I'm not like versed in that, but I'm curious.
Yeah. I'm not that much of a nerd. I can't pick them out.
No, me either. I actually didn't pay attention to it the second time I watched, but I wouldn't know it either way. So the door shuts, they're locked in, and Obi-Wan says they're just talking about like there's panic around them because the door is locked in and they can tell that there's an Imperial ship in the atmosphere around them somehow. And they're like, oh, they're going to attack. And Obi-Wan is like, Vader has no patience for a siege. And then like we start seeing again this interspliced Anakin and Obi-Wan moment, and Anakin is like really showing his power here, and he basically says like mercy doesn't defeat an enemy, master, and then he's just fighting super aggressively. So they're really showing Anakin's impatience and just his will to win, basically, instead of thinking through things more strategically.
Yeah, I was gonna say they actually kind of showed it a lot more in his movement this episode too. I mean, this may be jumping a little bit ahead, so I'm not gonna go too crazy, but like even when you see him like walking once they landed, like this guy was like on a mission, man. So
the Vader power walk is very prevalent.
Yeah, power walk is
I kind of love it too. Yeah, I kind of love it.
You could tell Vader's like his slow walker. He's like, I'm pissed, but the power walk, he's like, I'm real pissed.
Yeah. His Apple Watch told him to get his steps in that day.
Yeah, exactly.
What I actually what I love about the interplay, I kind of wish we had just seen this fight scene and then you have to reference it back while you're watching the rest of it. But either way, I thought it was the great metaphors, the sort of balance of like what Obi-Wan is trying to teach Anakin versus what Anakin is not learning. And I really enjoy that it always boils down to like not killing somebody versus killing somebody, and like the seriousness of killing your enemy. And it's at the core of what Anakin, like who Anakin is, you know. It's like it's all about like him choosing whether or not to slice Dooku's head off. All that stuff so built into like and what does he do? He has it at the end. He's spoiler alert. He's got Reva in the same way, where he's like crisscross applesauce.
I was waiting. I have it in my notes too.
I was shocked he didn't do it. I was pissed off. I was like, what is the reason? Like,
what was the reason?
It's like, why are you hurting us?
I'm away, but
you had the Obi-Wan opportunity to say hello there, and then this. It's like, what are you guys? You just thrown it.
Yeah, that hello in episode like 2 or 3 or whatever it was, and not the it's so annoying. Anyway,
before you go on, I do want to point out that Hayden Christensen looks a bit old here for such
he's 40.
I understand. I sent Katie a video on this, and there's someone who did like a de-aging on them already for the scene that already exists, and it looked real good. In motion, you could tell there's like some artifacts, but this guy put it together in like 4 hours, so it looks real
I'm sure
good.
He didn't have Disney resources.
Right. I mean, you guys have billions of dollars and own like basically countries and stuff. De-age him in this scene. De-age him.
I don't know why it didn't bother me, but it really didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me. It's just a bit annoying.
It's a nitpick.
Right. They can do it. There's we have the technology.
Totally.
You know,
it was lazy.
It was lazy. Just do it.
There's a lot of laziness in this series in general, and I think this is definitely it.
A 41-year-old Padawan here. And
listen,
I could suspend my disbelief, but just do it.
The forces at ILM, the Lucasfilm SFX team, VFX team, what were they doing? They were animating like full minute of a plane being shaken in the sky. They did not have time to de-age Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, they used the budget.
They had more important
elsewhere.
things to do, and also have like a cool slow down lightsaber. You know,
Yeah.
the very
Yeah.
They
did a lot. They did a lot.
Was cool as fuck. Yeah,
they did a lot.
That was cool.
Yeah. So we get to Vader again on the ship, and this is where his head is kind of like floating in the sky in the reflection of the moon. And he tells him to launch the attack. So Obi-Wan is then back. We're like jumping back and forth between Vader's ship and then Jabin. Most of the rest of the episode is on Jabin. Obi-Wan gives everyone a pep talk, and he says, if we try to fight them, we'll lose. We'll need to buy enough time to get everyone out. If we defend our position together, then by the time they get inside, we'll be gone. So everyone's kind of prepping the shelter, planning for the attack, running around. Leia goes up to the vent because she can fit in there to try and fix the door. And Obi-Wan sends Haja to watch her. And he's like, listen, I'm not a babysitter. And then Obi-Wan's like, listen, I gotta go.
Haja literally worked with a child. He literally his partner.
That's a great point, actually.
Child who was like, yes,
also, where's that kid?
Yeah,
he left his
kid,
friend,
I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
No, you know what was funny about this too is like I'm so glad that we can have a direct allusion to the Lego Star Wars games with Leia being the small enough person to get into an event. Like that was so beautiful. Appreciated that so much.
Yeah.
The amount of trust you put in a child here in a life or death situation is kind of insane.
Yeah, it's like they were like, she's a little kid, and Obi-Wan's like, I trust her. So if you trust me, then you trust her. And everyone's like,
I'd be like, what
you
the
know,
hell?
Who makes the point? Yeah. I'm like, is she an electrician? I don't understand. Like, how is she gonna know how to fix this wiring just because she could fit? It's weird.
One time when I was like 8 years old, I lost my parents in a hotel for like a minute, and I was like, let me take the elevator up. Why? Where? I didn't know what floor I was on. You know, kids are stupid. And like, I don't think that they're like, cut the red wire in like swaths of wires, like in not even like a casual amount of like, yeah, there's a couple.
No.
Like, this is like such deep technology. And they're like, yeah, I can barely figure out my own computer. And a 10-year-old's going to cut the right wire. I was like,
right.
I forget my password every 2 weeks, man. You know, like, I don't know.
Are you forgetting how Leia insulted her cousin so deep?
Yeah,
She's
that's
smart.
true. She's smart for a 10-year-old.
You can't cut a bitch, but can she cut a wire?
Why do they have a droid for this? Anyway.
Well, the droid is the one that's screwed it up.
That's the only one. I don't know. You got to suspend your disbelief for this.
We don't ask any questions. We just watch. Okay?
Yeah, that's what you got to do. It's
all hail Disney.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our overlords. So everyone is prepping. Yeah, she goes in. Then the Imperials come down, and Reva's kind of just instructed, and they're trying to breach the door. She's commanding everybody. I thought this was cool. Just like full scale trooper assault on this door. And inside, they continue to kind of just like run around. Then Obi-Wan's like, gotta go. Got my little cell phone's ringing here, and it's Bail Organa. And Bail is like, listen, I know you specifically told me not to call you Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I have to call you because I haven't heard from you. And there are kids, you know, Darth Vader's kids are out there. So I just want to make sure that if you're not okay, I'm going to head to Tatooine where Darth Vader's kids are and help Uncle Owen with the kid. So pray you're safe. Which is such we'll get to it at the end, but it's like the bits and pieces of that were so specific for Reva to be like, oh, Owen on Tatooine with the boy? Yeah, I know that guy. I met him in episode 1. I threatened his life. So, you know, rough message from Bail. But then Tala comes over. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, look, you know, it was a galaxy a long time ago, far, far away. They did not have Snapchat technology back then. They did not have the ability for a message to not be replayed. This is
on Obi-Wan too. Like, erase your messages, dude.
Either erase your message or send a message back and be like, we are fine. Be there in a day.
We're good. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're on our way.
You know, I love that they only have hologram. They do not have text for whatever reason. Could not get an SMS out over the galaxy. It has to be hologram. Like, I kind of love the goofy. That's kind of my favorite part of sci-fi is when it's like, okay, like I know that it's sci-fi and that some things don't work, but like, you really don't have like text messages. You really can't delete your text messages. You really can't password protect your little hologram projector. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
this is a place where they only have speakerphone.
Wipe your voicemail. Yeah, that's
Ear pods, nothing.
It's like we can make a Death Star, but we can't make efficient communication.
Yeah,
we can explode a planet, but we can't.
It's efficient, just not private.
Right. No privacy. No privacy. Seth in the chat does say Leia did know how to take apart her droid, so maybe she has some electronic skill, which is a really good point. Very good point, Seth. Thank you.
Wow, we love women in STEM.
Exactly. So Tala comes over to Obi-Wan once he's done on the phone, and she asks him if everything's okay. And then she tells him the story about how she was carrying out orders for the Empire. And everything was basically under a false pretense. The Empire told her that these families were not paying their taxes and all of these other things that they were supposed to be doing. But what was happening in reality was that they were force sensitive. So they had her round up these 4 families outside. And they didn't really say what happened, but obviously they were executed. And 14 people died and 6 of them are children. And then she essentially says, I couldn't do anything to help them now. So now I do this. And she takes out her blaster and she shows all the notches on her, I don't know what her holster. And she says, it's one for every one I get through. And at first I thought she meant like everyone I get through, like Jabin. But what I think she means is every stormtrooper or someone from the Empire that she kills.
Oh, I don't.
No, I think it's the first one.
Everyone it's a former.
All right.
That's what I.
All right.
That's what I assumed. Yes.
Oh, I wanted it to be.
You think it was every person she killed?
Why not?
I mean, it could be. Sure.
She didn't too much credit, Katie. Too much credit.
Yeah, maybe. I just wanted it to be a little more brutal.
I think that she was. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, please go ahead, Matt. No,
she seemed like she was more interested in getting people through and safe. So like that's something that she would hold as with pride, as opposed to like murdering these people she used to be on the same side of.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're talking logic here. Fine. You convinced me. I did. Well, the first time I thought, and I was like, oh, maybe she means like the ones that she shoots, and that's whatever. So go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's so funny that like she's like, oh, I thought they were just gonna pay their tax. Like it was about taxes.
About to say.
And then they were shot. And it's like, even if it was for paying taxes.
Yeah, like it's a little extreme.
Yeah.
Well,
IRS puts people in jail at most. Like nobody has been executed for tax fraud in America. You know what I mean?
I was going to say the same thing. If we're rounding them up for taxes, that's fine. But they're force sensitive.
Yeah. And it's just that like meme of, are we the baddies? It's like, I'm rounding up people for not paying taxes? Girl.
Yeah. I mean, she's essentially saying that they're committing genocide against force sensitive people. I mean, they're essentially, that's what they're doing, right?
And
they're just
people who don't pay tax.
Yeah, and people who don't pay taxes. Yeah, exactly. So we get to the Empire. They continue to blast the door, and Obi-Wan is like, "We need to slow them down. Tell the Inquisitor I want to talk." So then he goes up to the door and he starts talking to Reva, and she kind of like puts her hand up. She stops them firing. And this is where we finally get some Reva backstory. And I think everyone was kind of expecting that this was going to be the case. I think, Isaiah, you went a little further in thinking that she was really out there to trick Vader, and you nailed that. But she pretty much says, Obi-Wan is up against the door, and it seems like he kind of like senses her there. And he says, if she says to him, if you're stalling for time, it won't work. Lord Vader will have you at any cost. And he says, you mean Anakin? You knew who Anakin was back on whatever that planet was at the time. How did you know that? Vader would have kept that hidden and you're too young to have known him. And he says, unless you were there the night of Order 66, you were a youngling and that's how you knew him. You saw him. Anakin killed the others. He killed the other younglings, but somehow you survived. And then she cuts him off. And then we get the flashback of Order 66.
They have a huge like Kylo Ren and Rey kind of dynamic in this scene right here.
They do, yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they definitely do.
Dyad, yeah.
I really liked how they clarified on the fact that she shouldn't know that he's Anakin. I know that like people who are nerds know that, and like that's a really closely guarded secret. But I like that they brought it back and said like, well, why do you know this? And instead of just being like, oh, you're a youngling, and then the audience is to assume, it's
right.
I'm glad they did that.
I'm glad they did that too. I feel like they really closed up a lot of plot holes in this episode. Like this whole episode was closing up plot holes. I think the collective fandom on Reddit who has been complaining this whole time has pretty much been told to shut up.
I have a question. Here's my question. When she said that, I was like, we're 10 years out, but do people think that Anakin Skywalker died and Lord Vader just appeared? Because I guess I'm like missing the gap in like the you know, I feel like people would have been talking about this, right? Of being like, yeah, Anakin actually went to the dark side. Pretty crazy, huh? And like, you know, how did the rumor not get out is my question. How do people not know that this shit went down?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think they all thought that he died on Mustafar with Obi-Wan. I think they thought that Obi-Wan killed him because he left him there burning. So I guess he assumed that he was going to burn alive. But Palpatine obviously went and he saved him. And then I think the lore in the comics or so are basically that Anakin kills anybody who knows that he is Vader. So it's a tightly kept secret around the galaxy.
Yeah, and I love that they're whispering this very tightly kept secret through a huge metal door that they can't even blow up.
Yeah.
We can't do text messages still, right?
Yeah, you make a great point here. I'm not going to ask any more questions. So we get the flashback of Order 66. So we get Anakin, we get Hayden Christensen again in costume, killing younglings. They're making him put on this robe again to strike down little kids. And Reva says, we thought he was there to help us. I tried to help them, but I couldn't. I was too weak. When he left, I played dead and hid with the bodies, and I felt them go cold, which is really, really kind of sad and very jarring to hear, given the state of the world that we actually live in. Because given what happened in Texas and some of these school shootings, this was like an unfortunate choice of storyline, just because it really parallels real life. So that was kind of tough to hear and watch for like entertainment value, and that's things that actual children actually had to do very recently. So that was a little rough. Order 66 hits different these days, you know? So he basically says, he figures her out and he says, you're not serving him, you're hunting him. Let me help you. And she basically says, like, why would I trust you? And he tells her that they want the same thing. And she said, do we, Obi-Wan? Do you really want Anakin dead? Which is a good call, because he doesn't want Anakin dead. He wants to bring him back. We all know that. It's not the Jedi way to just want to kill someone. And she asks him, where were you while he was killing my friends? He was your Padawan. Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you save us? And she said, I don't need your help. I don't need anyone. And he basically says to her, like, you won't stop him alone. And she says, you have no idea what I've done alone, which I want to know what she's done alone. Tell me more about her. I want to see more from what happened. She'll get her own show. But let me stop talking. She'll get her own show or a comic or something.
They'll definitely be at least.
She'll get a comic. Definitely a comic.
Okay.
Here's my question, because I can't remember it and I didn't want to go back and watch episode 3. Where was Obi-Wan when this all went down? What was
killing General Grievous?
Yeah, he was killing General Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was.
I mean, Palpatine had this all worked out in his head. He separated them. He wanted to go alone. Anakin wanted to go. They wouldn't let him go. This was all planned by Palpatine. He did the damn thing, you know.
Well, the council actually. Well, Palpatine.
Yeah, really. Palpatine, who was it? Was it my favorite Jedi ever, Yoda?
It was the count. It wasn't just Yoda, I don't think.
But,
who sits on the council?
Palpatine knew they weren't going to send him, but he was like, "Oh, they should send you for this mission," and then they sent Obi-Wan instead. I think it may have been Yoda, but
well, they wanted him there to spy on Palpatine and stay with Palpatine. He
right.
Great job, guys. Great job, killing it, just constantly killing it. So.
I like Josh's comment. Sorry, Josh says, feels like the Sith always pop up randomly. The Jedi Council was completely surprised by the appearance of Darth Maul. Yeah, Jedi Jedi are just like, oh, who is this guy with the Sith? And it's like, don't you feel the light and the dark? Isn't that what we're vibing with right now?
I think before episode 1, the Sith were gone for like a very, very long time. They were basically wiped out, and like Plagueis and Palpatine were like super under the radar. You know? Plagueis was like a banker who was Palpatine's.
Yeah. What a name, Plagueis.
Master.
That's like he was like, I really gotta go hard with my Darth name. What do I do?
Yeah.
I'm Darth Matt.
Seth says shout out to R Fuck Yoda. That's right. Shout out to our new subreddit, R Fuck Yoda. Seth has the only post there so far. But
I did see Seth's post and it did make me laugh.
It's an amazing post. I think it's just me, Seth, and Naomi right now, but everybody feel free to join. It's open to everyone. Open to everyone. Branded after our podcast.
We have our open arms to you, unlike the Jedi during Anakin's time.
Okay.
Exactly. So she starts cutting through the door with her lightsaber, and this is where everything just hits the fan. Everyone is they're basically just sieging through and breaching the door, and she tries to attack Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan, like the badass he is, just force pushes her through the thing, and we finally get to see some real force usage from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I loved this scene. And then he takes out his lightsaber, and he's hitting blaster shots away and taking out stormtroopers. And then this is where we really get to see like I said earlier, one of the first battles that we get to see on screen anyway in the timeline of the rebellion. This was really feels like it's really where it starts. Leia's still working on the door, and the Empire is still sieging, and Tala and the loader droid, whose name I think is Ned B.
Yes.
Ned. Yeah, Ned B. Are holding them off. And Ned B picks up a trooper and picks him up, throws him down. He's throws him through everybody. He's kind of wrecking everyone. And while we were watching this, I was like, Ned B's gonna die. Ned B's gonna die here, and it's gonna break me in half. And it did. Tala's gonna die. Ned B's gonna die. And that's what happened. Tala gets hit with a blaster shot in the stomach. Obi-Wan tries and comes to save her, but it doesn't really work. And then Ned B gets shot a bunch of times too, and the music gets slow. And they really know how to get you with a freaking droid in Star Wars. This droid that we just met him, and it's just so heartbreaking. He sees Tala on the ground, he kneels in front of her, and he shields her. And it didn't get me the first time I watched it, but the second time I watched it, it got me choked up. I was like, this is really sad. I don't even know these people. I don't know this person or this droid, and I'm about to cry over this. It was really sad.
Out of curiosity, how many good droid deaths do we usually get? Not many.
We got the one in Rogue One, which is basically exactly what happens here. It's he's trying to hold them off, and then he gets taken. We get this one. If you have watched the final season of Clone Wars, you will see some sad droid deaths at the end in the last episode. Those are probably the ones that really hit hard. I don't know do we have any other droid deaths?
We get a lot of droid deaths.
Bro, I feel like the most impactful one, the best part about Rise of Skywalker. Oh, the Mandalorian. But I was gonna say the best part of Rise of Skywalker was when C-3PO got his memory wiped. That shit hurt.
Yeah, true,
that was oh my god.
I hate C-3PO too.
Oh my god.
He's my second most hated Star Wars character, and I hated that storyline. They should have just taken him out. Just take him out.
Wow. Katie wishes that C-3PO
take him out. That's my next subreddit is r fuck C-3PO.
Wow.
I never.
Oh, the worst droid. The absolute worst droid. The number one worst droid. Seth says the droid literally said nothing the whole time, but he will be missed. And he really will. And they said it in the episode where they introduced him, when Tala was actions speak louder than words. And even as he was dying, his actions spoke louder than his words, and he protected her until the end, which was really, really sad.
These poor Star Wars droids. I mean, they do nothing but sacrifice themselves and die, and they're just under constant rule by their humanoid overlords. I'm over it.
Yeah. I know.
iRobot Uprising. You know what? Those battle droids deserved better. They should.
They need you in the storyboard.
Roger. You know.
I mean, that's true. We did get all of the droids dying in the prequels too.
Just
yeah. Oh, so sad. So Tala's kind of seeing all of this craziness go on around her as she's dying, and she sees this panel on the wall, and she's kind of taking stock of what's going on, and she tells Ben to her to run, and he's like, Tala, no, and then she just shoots the panel, and the door closes, and she takes out a bomb, which I'm sure has a real name, but I'm just going to call it a bomb.
Thermal detonator.
Thank you. And she says, may the force be with you. And Reva sees what's happening. May the force be with you really got me too. I was like, oh man, this is kind of heartbreaking. And she holds it instead of throwing it. She holds it because she really sacrificed herself here for this group of people. She really did what she set out to do and get these people out and keep them safe. And she made good on her word. She said earlier on that, you can't forget these things, but you have to fight to make them better. And she fought to make them better. And I just rest in peace, Tala. She was a good character. So this really bought them a lot of time.
I would say that there is no better death in the Star Wars universe than when somebody is sacrificing themselves for people to keep going. Now it's
shout out to Holdo. Is that her name?
Admiral Holdo. Yeah. Or just absolutely rips the fucking ship through the other ship. I don't know why people didn't like that movie. That ruled. But there's something I think always very noble about these instances, or even like spoiler alert, Han Solo going to talk to his son, like these moments where people are either trying very hard to defend what they have, or we're like, I could think, Rogue One times a million. But to me, those are the best deaths in Star Wars, because it's so much less about like the interpersonal relationships and so much more about like, I am dying for a cause and I believe in this cause. And that is really what Star Wars is so much more about, is like, will you die for the cause, which is, a big heady topic to think about at all the time while you're watching space movies, but that that is what it is at the end of the day, and I always like it.
Do you think she could have got out without doing all that?
Yeah.
I mean, she could have like thrown it instead of held it, but she did get shot probably right in the stomach. I guess maybe if Ned B picked her up and they ran, and she could have thrown it. If she had that on her, she could have thrown it a little earlier.
The weight of this scene is completely contradicted by what follows, I think.
Yeah.
I was really into it.
Yeah.
And then directly afterwards, which we'll get to, I feel like totally wiped it away from me.
I'll wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can go there. So,
because I loved her character. I thought her and the droid were great characters. Great.
They were great.
Did really. I mean, the droid is just a droid, but she did really
just
great.
A droid.
And that's he didn't speak. Just
I know.
It's not like an actor.
Well, now he's dead. The dead will speak. There you go.
The dead speak. So, Obi-Wan comes in. He's feeling upset. We get this shot of Vader breathing kind of like over Obi-Wan speaking, which was kind of cool. And he says, the Grand Inquisitor has breached the walls. We should have him soon. Oh, someone says this to him. And we should have him soon. And he says, tell her to stand down. Kenobi is already ours. And we get another episode 2 flashback. Anakin is now really slamming on Obi-Wan aggressively with the lightsaber, and just like Obi-Wan's kind of down and he's just like beating on him, very similar to how Luke does in episode 6 when he's fighting Darth Vader, which I love those. People are saying on Reddit that they should have a Skywalker style of lightsaber battling, which I totally agree. They just like, they fight very differently than everybody else. Just the power is really showing through. And Kenobi then basically, they come back and Obi-Wan says, it's over, I'm going back. And Rogan is like, what are you talking about? How are you going to surrender? Look at what's going on. And Obi-Wan is like, this is what he expects. And he knows that I'll do everything to protect these people. And he hands over his lightsaber and his transmitter and everything else to Haja and says, like, look out for Leia. And they're like, how are you going to fight without a weapon? And Obi-Wan says there are other ways to fight. So he goes out and he surrenders himself.
I think it's interesting that like Obi-Wan, in my opinion, has made like some of like the worst decisions in like the series. Like he's not a good decision maker, man. Like I didn't think this was necessary because they could have just held it off. I mean, yeah, it wasn't necessary. I mean, I don't know. I mean, God, I'm sorry.
I kind of liked this in the sense that it made me feel like he was always one step ahead of the Empire and Vader, as he's always been since he was his master. And he really learned, and he shows how much he knew Anakin and now Vader. So he could kind of almost predict his next move, and he could be a step ahead. And this I really liked from Obi-Wan specifically, because this really showed like the general Kenobi in him versus kind of the Jedi. Like he was a strategist, he was planning, he was really figuring out how to get these people out and also battle. I liked this version of Obi-Wan, but I do agree, like throughout this series, he's making completely terrible decisions. These are just ones that I liked, and then happened to work.
I just wish that he made that decision like 10 minutes earlier. I like
before someone blew themselves up.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, this is why I wiped it out, because like basically nothing happened. Like Tala sacrificed herself for them to not get away, for him to just be like, oh, now I have a plan. So it's like, it just like prompted his thought. I don't know.
Well, I think it bought them a little bit of time, because without maybe her, she should have thrown the bomb for sure. But this is kind of like a Rogue One of it all. Like we don't know Tala. She's not part of the rebellion anywhere else. We don't know Ned B. She had to die, right? We knew she wasn't going to really make it beyond, because we never see her character again.
They can play that off. I'm fine with her sacrificing herself. I think that's all well and dandy.
You wanted it to be for something,
right? I mean, you have to have that. Like in Rogue One, they sacrifice themselves for the plans, which we know the outcome of already, right?
Yeah,
in this, she sacrificed herself, and the droid did. What do you know the droid's name? The loader droid.
Ned B.
Ned B. Sorry.
Yeah.
Good old Ned.
Good old Ned. For him 10 seconds later to give himself up to the same stormtroopers who were just in that hallway, just a little bit fewer of them. So like that's the only thing I'm like, all right.
Most good. Oh, go ahead, Naomi.
Well, actually, no. Go ahead, Isaiah, because I got a big old question for the gang in a second.
No, you're good. I was just about to say the only good that this really that really came out of this was that it made Vader go through the tunnel instead of forcing himself to open the gate up. Because if you imagine, I mean, if he didn't turn himself in, I guess he opens the gate and then just catches everybody. I guess that was an out just to force him to walk through the hallway. Honestly, that's the only thing this really did. If you think about it, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my question though, because we're seeing the motif of Obi-Wan knows how Anakin operates, therefore can outsmart him, which I think works to an extent. But we also see this episode. Anakin Darth Vader is super, super smart and can read people like a book. I feel like the dissonance for me is that Anakin and Vader are like, Vader is supposed to be so smart that he just looks at Reva and is like, bitch, I know the whole fucking time, you're not slick. But at the same time, Obi-Wan Kenobi can be like, yeah, he's gonna get really mad and just start charging at us. You know what I like? It's funny to me that there is that I almost wish that Anakin, keep calling him Anakin. It's fun. We saw Hayden Christensen's little face this episode.
Yeah,
I wish Anakin like outsmarted Obi-Wan a little bit, only for Obi-Wan to then use his own emotions against him. Something where it's like, it's not just like, oh, I know that he's going to be like a total freakazoid about attacking right now, so we'll get him on the back end. And obviously, we do see that fun moment. Of course, we'll get to it later, where the different plane takes off. But that was like, I just feel like there's such a cognitive dissonance, and I don't know if you guys are feeling that as well, or if maybe I'm just like being an over analytical motherfucker Star Wars fan.
No, you know what I mean? I think you're right. I think we get like this, Anakin is so easy to outsmart, and then we get this other version where he's like, oh no, he was actually like ahead of this plan the whole time. I think it's probably at the end more of like maybe the influence of the other Inquisitors in his ear, or even Palpatine at this point. He's like learning more from Palpatine instead of thinking through from A to Z, right? Like as Obi-Wan says in the flashbacks, and I wrote it down somewhere, I think it's at this point, your need for victory, Anakin, it blinds you. Like, he's blinded, but all he wants is Obi-Wan. That's all he wants. That's all he cares about. Where like Reva's just like, whatever, he'll use her because it's suiting him. Where now he's like, Obi-Wan, that's all I want. I'm getting it. This is it. This is all I want.
That's exactly how I would hand wave this, because he's just clouded by Obi-Wan. Like everyone else close to him. I mean, you could see that in the original movies too, right? With Luke and stuff. He's had the opportunity to kill Luke like 40 times. And
he's impulsive.
I think that's the shame of the mask, which is like, I get it, but like if we could see Hayden Christensen like face acting like he is in episode 3, I feel like it would just translate so easily. But the mask always just makes it like one step more difficult to like capturing their emotions fully.
Yeah, for sure. So Obi-Wan goes outside, and the stormtroopers take him out, and he gets on his knees in front of Reva, and he says, "You're not bringing him to me. I'm bringing him to you." Which I love this. I love that he's really thought through this, and he got in her head. And he says, "This isn't over yet. There are families back there, children. Are you going to let him do it again? What he did to you? We could end this together."
Kind of manipulative.
Listen,
toxic.
Yeah. And she says, "What makes you think he won't see it coming?" And he said, "Because all he will see is me." And he's exactly right. He calls it. He's blinded. And this is when we get another flashback of Anakin fighting with Obi-Wan. And this is when, he's overpowering him, and he knocks Obi-Wan's weapon out of his hand. And he says, "Your weapon's gone. It's over." And he got like this eating grin on his face. He's so confident. And this is when Obi-Wan says, "Your need for victory, Anakin, it blinds you." And then it's kind of like a back and forth. We see Vader walking in, power walking in, and he says, "Where is he?" And they said, "I've secured him inside."
Love the power walk.
Yeah. And then Obi-Wan ends up kind of killing those two troopers in the hallway. And I guess he can run in and get on that ship and get ready to get away. While this is happening, Leia finds the right wire. And I said and Matt can vouch for me when we were watching this, I said, Lola's going to be up there and she's just going to start flying into Leia's face. And that's exactly what happened, which I thought was this is the part where I was like, this is so stupid that the droid's just like hitting her in the face while she's trying to and then she's like, oh, what happened to you? Let me take this bolt off.
The droid has scissors on it. The droid has a knife. Stab her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stab this child.
Yeah, she's like bonk, bonk in the face.
That Tinkerbell Disney dust, like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, gotta have a cute little droid that looks like a ladybug and just like boop, boop, boop in your face.
Also, let's totally like cut someone in half, episode 2.
I mean, that was awesome though.
No, hell, right? Yeah, I'm into it.
That ruled.
Yeah. But so Leia's like, oh, you have like a bolt on you. Let me just take this off. And she just throws it. And then she's like, I'm blue again and everything's fine. And she just puts a plug, even though it looked like Lola started chopping the wires. This now she just like has a plug and she just puts it in the right spot. We're not going to ask any questions. And then the door opens and everybody starts running to the
Star
ship.
Wars tech. This is a series where like every droid has like a bolt that goes into a door and flips it around a few times and it opens. Yeah. So we're good.
It all works out for everybody. So she fixes the door. Everyone's like, oh, you did great. And then, Obi-Wan's like, we're good. Everybody's good. Like Rogan, we're all set. And Leia's like, where's Tala? And then Obi-Wan's like, not right now. We can't talk about it right now. And she's like, just get to the ship. I'll tell you later. Leia, yeah, don't worry. Great. She's with Wit. Yeah, she's with Leia. Yeah, Leia, not right now. So while this is all happening while Vader is outside. So at least that's how they make it seem. Like Vader's walking in. Like, is this place huge? Like, how long does it take to walk into? Maybe it's really big. I don't know. But Vader's just power walking in, and they're all running on the ship. But then we get the most incredible scene.
Oh, wait, I have to pause you for a second, Katie. That's the moment, right? There it is. That's the moment where Leia opens the thing, Obi-Wan gets on the ship. That's where Tala should be sacrificing herself in an attempt to explode Darth Vader. And whoa, holy fuck, he makes it through. You know what I mean? Like something crazy like
that would have been more impactful for sure. Like if she was like, I will help you, I'll sacrifice myself so you guys can get the time to get out. Because you guys are right, like Matt, I think you kind of nailed it. Like she just threw a bomb and then everyone was like, nope, we're good. I don't know. Shout out to Tala though. We'll pour one up for her. She was a great character. Mm-hmm. But now I'm going to shift into overdrive of how awesome the show is because this was everything to me. This Vader scene was the most fucking incredible thing I feel like I've ever seen in Star Wars. The ship starts taking off and Vader just puts his hand out, doesn't even struggle for a second, grabs the ship. And we've seen it happen before. We saw Rey do it in the sequels. We saw Ahsoka do it in the last few episodes of the Clone Wars. They struggle. It's hard for them to hold the ship. He's just like, nope, I'm just putting my one hand out.
And a
I'm
much
good.
Bigger ship.
Huge ship. And he's just like, nope, pulls it, slams it down on the ground. This is the coolest thing I feel like I've ever seen. And then he starts ripping the ship to shreds with the Force. What a badass. I mean, this guy is the Metachlorians are strong with this one. He really is. This is kind of the most amazing thing I feel like I've seen in Star Wars.
He's been eating his Metachlorians for breakfast. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do not get. Sorry, Isaiah.
No, I was just gonna say RIP to whoever stayed back to fly that one.
That's a really good point. Really good point.
Probably another loader droid that they hate.
Yeah, maybe it was another droid or something.
They kill these droids.
Good,
Who cares about
good
that?
point.
Man, I'm done.
Good point. And then as he's ripping this ship apart, the other one flies away, and he's just like, "Oh shit."
Good plan.
You could have just put your other hand up and grab it, but
I mean, why not just?
They made the second ship. I thought about that. They made the second ship fly away real fast. And I don't know if that. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but like based on it looked like the second one flew away much faster.
Yeah.
We usually do not get. I mean, Vader's like a very feared character, right? But there are not a lot of cinematic moments, either a show or in TV, where he like utilizes or showcases his power in a way. In the original stuff, he's choking people and like. Some dumb lightsaber fights are still fun, but like nothing like this. And like there's a lot of extended media that focuses on how powerful he is. The Force, not the Force Awakens, Jedi Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen Order is like a really good example of Vader at the end doing something like this, where it's like very scary. But first time in like a medium like this, which is I loved it. That was great.
Yeah, seeing this in live action, we got a glimpse of it in Rogue One at the end, but that was really fan servicey. This is like you really I guess this is kind of fan service. This whole series is a little fan servicey, but the fact that we are seeing so much Vader being so terrifying is honestly, it's probably the best part of the show for me, outside of Ewan McGregor. But after this, and he's kind of watching the ship fly away, we get another flashback, the last flashback that we get of Obi-Wan outsmarting Anakin once again. He lunges at Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan kind of elbows him in the back, and then shoot, takes his saber with the Force, and he wins. Obi-Wan wins because he used his smarts instead of his power. And he did it again. And he said, in that flashback, he said, "You're a great warrior, Anakin, but your need to prove yourself is your undoing. Until you overcome it, a Padawan you will still be." And here we get the plot hole covered of the last I saw you, I was the learner and you were the master. I really feel like they did this on purpose because this is less of a retcon for episode 4 than everybody has kind of been saying. What do you guys think about that? Because people had a lot of issues, myself included, with this because of the quote he says in episode 4. Do you think that this kind of clears it? Because obviously Obi-Wan is he's still the master.
Yeah, so basically Obi-Wan's saying, like, you still suck. I schooled your ass last time I saw you, and now everything is retconned. The whole universe makes sense now. Everything is worked out. We're all good. Thank you, George Lucas. I thought this was very fun, of course. The scene's great.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show women, it's always smarts over brawn. Like, every time. The strong boys are never going to do it for you. It's always about the smarty pants.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think that this kind of covered do you guys think this kind of covered their tracks a little bit with how upset people might have been after hearing what happened in episode 4, being like, they haven't seen each other since Mustafar?
Well, I mean, so I think there's already like a weird moment in the original movies too, where they kind of contradict each other too. Because in episode 4 he says that, and then in episode 6 he says to Luke, "Obi-Wan once thought as you did, that they were so good in him," which doesn't make sense if he was a student at the time. Mm-hmm. Right. And that was the last time they saw each other. So they already kind of contradict themselves in that instance. Yeah. So this, sure, I can hand wave it. I don't really care. They haven't really focused on, like, I don't know if you guys think this is going to be the last time they see each other, in the series.
Episode 2 coming.
There is another.
I mean, a season 2.
No, there's not.
That's what I hear.
That's
what I hear.
All right, we'll see.
That's the rumor. I hear there's an Obi-Wan season 2.
I mean, there's another episode. Maybe they could see each other again, but like, he's not gonna.
I think they probably will.
Sure. So hopefully there's another interaction where he thinks they're so good in him, and he actually expresses that. And I want Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yes.
Where the hell is Qui-Gon?
Yes.
Anyway, Taken 7, obviously.
Yeah, I guess so. Right. It's true. Yeah, it's true.
I was gonna say the Disney version of Star Wars has like a lot of contradictions, and I just got to the point where like I stopped questioning it. Like, this is one of the many, like, all right, in the comics it was different, in the other movies it was different. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna let y'all rock out. I'm gonna just watch it. So this
is the problem.
That's fair.
But that's the exact problem with focusing on these characters and trying to fit narratives inside of these tiny little windows of time. Like, why are we doing that instead of just? I mean, this is a whole nother argument, but just go to another time period. I don't like. Let's find other people that are interesting. The universe is fun. The characters are cool. Yeah. People love the characters. You can make new characters. Look, I like Tala a lot. Like, there's a lot of There's a lot of characters.
Supposedly, this is what Taika Waititi is going to do in his series.
I'm sure he will.
That's what he recently said, which is exciting. Great. Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I mean, that's the New Republic stuff, or like
I think
High Republic, or
I don't know. I think that this is his series, whatever. Not his series, his trilogy, whichever it's going to be. It's going to be like a brand new story, I guess, which is exciting. But yeah, I thought they did a good, as much as they could have kind of like covered that plot hole. I feel like they did it here, and they did it in a really smart way to me. Where again, Obi-Wan comes out on top. He's smarter. He continuously outsmarts Anakin, and he did it again. And as he's standing there, kind of pissed off, Reva comes up with her lightsaber behind him, and she tries to kill him. And this again, awesome to me, because he doesn't even take out his saber. He's fighting her with his hand, just throwing her around, force dancing around her, basically. And it is so cool to me. This is so cool to me that I just feel like he's such a freaking badass.
What a flex, man. Like I feel like that's something that you see in like a video game or something. Like, this guy knew, he was like, oh, so you trying to betray me? All right, come at me. The complete like morale drop when like he's not even fighting with your lightsaber. He takes your lightsaber and then gives you a half again just so you feel
like,
just
so you can have like a
she
chance.
She thought
takes it again.
Just so you shouldn't be that embarrassed.
And then
rough
stab
look
you,
for our
leaves you
girl.
there. Like what the hell, man? Like he honestly stole the show from Obi-Wan. Like it's so good, man. It's so good.
So great. So great.
And I will say that I tried to reserve judgment for, people didn't like Reva as a character in the first couple episodes. And I felt you try to reserve judgment for the whole series. Now seeing it as a whole, makes sense. And I really like the character, and
I liked her since the beginning.
Sure, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people like complained about.
Well, yeah,
they can go kick rocks. Bye-bye.
Yeah. But it's if you wait and like see the whole picture, it, like really just I feel like came full circle and like was a really good character arc. I don't know if she's like dead. I doubt it.
She's definitely not dead. Yeah,
she's not dead.
She still gotta relay that voice memo to Darth Vader. Here's my gripe with this Reva storyline. It's not Reva the character, right? Reva is a great character. The idea that she is a youngling is great. My one issue is that it doesn't make sense that she's hunting Jedi to kill Darth Vader. It does to me it just got me. This is why I couldn't love the episode, and it's not like anything to do with like the. It would be great if she was so mad at the Jedi for not protecting them that she decided to join the Inquisitors, but then realized it was Anakin. If this all. But I feel like it just kind of came out in the wash of like, Obi-Wan, you weren't there, and he also did all of this, so I'm mad at him and I'm mad at you. It's like, then why are you killing Force sensitive people? I don't understand. That was my big like, what are we doing here?
This is why I thought she was going to switch. It's because I don't necessarily think that it was her intention to actually ever betray Darth Vader. I think it was just literally she got manipulated hard. Like I think her initial mindset was, I don't really rock with Obi-Wan or Vader, but I need to survive, so I'm just going to go with whatever pathway suits me best. Yeah. And then Obi-Wan just got into her head, and then she just had this moment where she felt like she was a main character and could do whatever she wanted. And that's why I always felt like when you're approaching these past like timeline episodes, series, it's like, all right, they're not going to make it past like the end of it because they need to die at some point, since they don't make it on to the future canon of the series. So it's like she's going to have to die at some point. It's either going to be from Obi-Wan killing her, which I didn't see happening, or she was going to try to switch sides and then Vader was going to kill her. And Vader literally just did this in one of the video games too, where like his right hand literally just tried to betray him and then he killed her. This is like classic Vader in my opinion. So it's like, I don't think she initially planned on switching sides, but she just got manipulated. I think she was just going to stay with the dark side the entire time, even if she didn't rock with Vader.
Yeah, and Josh says in the chat, Reva's still consumed by the dark side, just in a different way. And he also says she's given into her hatred and her anger. She's a dark side user. She's not necessarily like a Sith, but she's a dark side user, and she's given in completely to the dark side. She's not a good guy at all. I think Isaiah's nailed it. She's doing what she had to do to survive and to get to the point. She just wants revenge. She's consumed by revenge. She wanted to get Vader, so she did what she had to do to get him. She's been in this world all by herself. The Jedi let everybody down after episode, in the prequels and in episode 3. They were clouded. They were making really bad decisions, Yoda. And they basically created Anakin as this Sith, and they didn't do anything to protect these people. They weren't there in the council. They were out at war. It was just it was a mess. Everything was a mess back then. So I don't think there's any love lost for the Jedi. Same with Ahsoka. Like she, spoilers for Clone Wars, but she left the Jedi Order because she didn't really agree with them either. She still was good, but she was like, this isn't for me. They're clouded. Everything is clouded. It's getting too political. This is not what the Jedi are here for. And I think Reva left, did what she had to do to, exactly as Isaiah was saying, to survive, but she's still not a good guy by any means.
Like Ahsoka is one of those rare commodities where it's like she's not on any affiliation, where it's like here, it's like join the winning team or die. Like, which one are you going to pick at that point?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I basically interpreted it as, she's just a dark side user at this point. She broke and had a very traumatic incident happen to her, right?
Yep.
And then she basically hates everyone. Like she doesn't care about killing Jedi. That's why she's cool with it. She wants to get to Vader no matter the cost. This is why in the beginning episode, she's like very obsessed with getting Obi-Wan because she knows that will get her closer to Vader.
Yeah.
I just don't think she has like anything that's like her one. So, I mean, if you even the Sith, like one of the rule of two, one of the things is like to usurp your master is to kill them. Like it's just basically like they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I totally like concur with all of this stuff. I think to me there weren't enough lines of Reva articulating that.
Yeah.
And that's like, if you're gonna make it a Reva backstory, this is why it should have all happened in episode 4, which was what, like 20 minutes plus credits.
Yeah, we should have gotten more,
because the reveal isn't a big enough gag, except for Obi-Wan, because we can all put it together that this might have happened. You can just have her say like, my friends are dead, the Jedi did nothing, I don't want the world to go back. Like, she's just missing her articulating her worldview for it to fully come across, except for just her being like, oh, I want to kill Anakin. It's like, yeah, girl, we all want to kill Darth Vader. He's fucking everybody's shit up. Like, this is the worst.
It's kind of like
she's a great character.
It's a running issue with most of the Disney properties, because I mean, not to go crazy, but like even if you look at the Marvel Disney Plus series like Moon Knight, very rushed ending. A lot of people are like, what's going on? There's just simply not enough time. But it's like, just give them more episodes. Like if you
make them longer. There's no reason to make these episodes 30 minutes. Like, give us an hour every week and you can do what you need to do, and you can flesh out these characters the way that they should be. It's giving me very final season of Game of Thrones vibes. And it's just like they're rushing to the end, and we don't really need to. You guys have all the resources at your disposal. You're making a show, Disney, for your own streaming service. It's not like you're working with a network that's putting rules in place for you. You are building this to put on your streaming service. Make it longer. That's the one thing, and Naomi, I totally agree with you, is that like we rushed. Especially to make this only 6 episodes and then have last episode be like 26 minutes long. Like, there's no excuse for that to me. That's just laziness, and they're rushing.
Yeah.
There are definitely a lot of rushed components on this, which are annoying, and that's a great point. It's like they had a whole period of time where they didn't release like any Star Wars media. You don't have. It's not like a Marvel thing. You have to put something out like every 2 months. It's
Kevin
fine.
Feige's hat comes and kills you. Like, it's fine. You have
it's
time.
It's fine. People love Star Wars media, and sure, you're kind of leaving money on the table. Yeah. But they also have to protect their interests, which is the IP. And in order to do that, you have to release something that is, digestible and in a way that people enjoy. Just take your time. You have billions of dollars. You can buy like 50 countries if you want. Like, just they have that much money.
Right.
Yeah.
They basically own Florida.
Right? Yeah. Well, not anymore, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. But that's for another podcast. So anyway, we see following this, we see Vader and Reva. Reva's still trying to go at him with her lightsaber, and she pulls out the other side of it. Very Darth Maul vibes, who's one of my favorite, if not my number one favorite character in Star Wars. And then she starts spinning it using like the spinny thing, because the Inquisitors have their spinny lightsabers. And again, when I was watching this with Matt, I was like, he's gonna force stop that lightsaber, and he did, and it was badass. And he took it and he just broke it in half, dropped one at her, and was like, "You want to go? Let's fucking go." And she takes it out. She has no shot against this guy. She's trying though. She doesn't give up. I mean, she's trying. I don't know what she thinks she's going to accomplish, but I think this is the first red lightsaber versus red lightsaber battle that we get in Star Wars, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Cool.
It's awesome.
I did love that Reva did not use the Force to pick up the lightsaber. Like, she really let.
I was like, why are you bending down? Why are you bending down?
Pick it up.
Pick it up. Yeah.
Am I sick for really wanting him to just like behead her like he did?
That's what I wanted it to. I was like, oh, we're gonna get the Dooku. He's gonna do it again, and then we didn't get it. I was like, wow, they really set us up for this for no reason. But he was he annihilated her with the Force, even with this battle. He like does a Force boomerang with the lightsaber. He like lets it go and it comes back to him. It was just so cool. This was so cool. But he's holding both lightsabers and he's walking towards her, and she's on her knees. And this is where I wrote in my notes, thought a Dooku was coming here, but we didn't get it. She's on her knees and she's having a flashback. And this I thought was really well done, of them splicing the Order 66 of Anakin kind of striking down the younglings, and her being a little kid watching it, and then her being on her knees looking up at him, about to do the same thing to her. It's like she was right back in that moment where she was a little girl watching her family get slayed by Anakin Skywalker, and now she's on her knees again, looking up at him in fear, waiting for him to strike her down again. And it's just kind of like, poor Reva. It was pretty sad for her. And he stabs her in the stomach.
What's with all the stomach stabs, huh?
A lot of stomach stabs in the series. This is like the third one.
Like,
Qui-Gon.
If he wanted to kill her, I mean, I get the slow, painful death or whatever, but like, you don't, like, if you want to do that, you wait until you see with your eyes that they're dead. You don't just leave them.
How did he not learn from his own experience? Obi-Wan left him, thought he was dead, and he was alive. Like, you gotta, maybe he just didn't care if she was dead or not. I mean, she's left. Who cares? He did, he stabbed her. If she's dead, she's dead. If she's not, she's not. Doesn't really matter to him. But then we see, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, this is also, I don't know if you're about to mention this, I love the Grand Inquisitor showing up and be like, I lived, bitch, and like it's just like, you thought that like you thought you were important. And at the very least, what I do love about the storyline is that, like, even being left for dead, I don't care if you live or die. You don't matter to me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Is very fun to watch.
Yeah, didn't even matter enough to kill her, because what's she gonna do? Yeah,
I think that's why the gutter comment came in, where he's like, leaving you where we found you. And the gutter, it's like, we basically don't care. You can't do anything against us.
Right.
And everyone who saw Rebels knew this scene was most likely coming at some point.
Yeah. So the Grand Inquisitor comes in. Vader says to Reva, "Did you really believe I did not see it, youngling?" So he knew this whole time. He was just using her. And that's when the Grand Inquisitor walks in. We see him. And Matt, to your point, everybody was on Reddit being like, they killed the Grand Inquisitor. They're retconning this. And I'm like, he's not dead. Obviously, he can't be dead unless it's a different guy of the same race. He's not dead. He's very clearly alive in Rebels. But the Grand Inquisitor comes in and he says, they say you're of no further use, Vader says. And the Inquisitor says, hello, third sister. Revenge does wonders for the will to live, don't you think? Your rage was useful.
Sister.
Your rage is useful. Now it was useful. Now it's tiresome. We will leave you where we found you, in the gutter where you belong. And then he takes her Grand Inquisitor pin, puts it back on himself, and then says, goodbye, Grand Inquisitor, which, like, she's just taking L's.
Yeah, big L's.
Poor Reva. I feel so bad. I actually do feel bad for her. She's been through it. And she thought she's just been outsmarted. All of these people just are so blinded by just this one goal that they don't see the bigger picture of what's around them. And happened to Vader just now, happened to Reva here with this, thinking that she could get her revenge. Not so fast.
Something to keep in mind is that she also was seconds away from torturing a child last episode, so she's she's a bit weird.
Cool motive, still murder.
You're talking to someone that's favorite Jedi is Anakin Skywalker. So
I'm just saying, not much to feel bad for, and she gave it a go. But yeah, I mean, I don't know the reason for keeping her around to do this when they could have done it on their own. I feel like it almost feels like it's a story just for the sake of a story.
Yeah,
gotcha,
But, also the fact that like all of the other Inquisitors were like, can you like, or all the other like sisters and brothers were like, can you like fucking chill out about Obi-Wan Kenobi? No. And I was like, okay, this is what we wanted all along. Again, it's the little things that are like, everything would tick so much better if like we set it up in the last episode that, oh, she's the youngling and she really wants to kill Obi-Wan because she hates the Jedi. Reveal she actually doesn't hate the Jedi. She hates Anakin. Oh, reveal they can work together. Reveal no, they can't. All that kind of
I think she kind of hates everyone. That's kind of like
I'm not. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Katie.
I was just gonna say I'm not that annoyed about the storyline of Reva being used, because the other Inquisitors were too measured and they weren't going to go after. They gave up on trying to find Obi-Wan, where Vader knew that he could use her because she had ambition to get so close to him that she would have probably done anything necessary to get close to Vader, because he knew what she was doing. He knew who she was. So why not use her for his means to get Obi-Wan? I think that was purposeful. I don't think it was more so like, why not use the other Inquisitors? I feel like he manipulated her in a way to do exactly what he wanted her to do, and she did it, and then that's all they needed her for.
It's just that, like, it's like, oh, I already knew you were going to try to betray me, but didn't you want her to get Obi-Wan? Why did you give her so much trust for such an important mission, man?
Yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's like, okay, I'm not going to question it,
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes back. Like, for me, I feel like, again, like, it's almost just like he knew that she wouldn't stop because she would do anything to get close to Vader. So, like, may as well.
He's also just cocky. So it's like,
he is. Yeah, he is. Exactly. there's not really a lot of rationale with any of them.
Yeah.
So she's struggling on the ground. She's trying to get her lightsaber, and then she's like, "Oh, what's that little blinky thing over there? Oh, it's a transmitter that Haja dropped on the ground as he was running to get on the." And as we were watching it, I was like, "Oh, he dropped the thing. That's going to be a problem." And then she plays it, but everyone's on the ship, and Rogan comes over and sits next to Obi-Wan. I was like, "Hey, man, hyperdrive's down, and they're like right behind us." And then Reba picks it up and says, and we get literally like the only words we get are children, Tatooine, Owen, the boy. And it's like, oh, she's just hearing every important word in this whole conversation. And then Obi-Wan feels something. He's on the ship and he feels something's wrong. He's looking away, and Rogan's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Something's wrong. Like something's not okay." He senses something's off in the Force or something's going on. And this is kind of where we end the episode. He basically just goes like, "I'm sure it's not a big deal," but obviously he knows it's a big deal.
What was he feeling? Was he feeling Luke or was he feeling Reba?
Obi-Wan was having that sense that you get when you're drunk in the Uber and you've left your phone behind. That's what the Force was. Yeah, I think it was like a forced feeling about either Reva like finding the object or being like, "I think I've definitely left something behind. Can we circle back, guys?" Like that kind of feeling.
I think he just felt some kind of, and I mistakenly said this is the end of the episode. This wasn't the end of the episode. We get a nice cut of Luke sleeping soundly in bed on Tatooine at home. Poor guy has no idea what's coming for him later in life. But he'll be okay.
Sleep soundly on that hand, Luke, because it won't be on you much longer.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think he was feeling? Because I couldn't really put my finger on if it was like, oh, I feel uneasy because something bad's about to happen. I feel uneasy because I left something. I feel uneasy because the hyperdrive's down and they're right behind us and like it's not going to end here. What did you guys think?
I mean, did he started reacting after she touched it, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
So
or when she saw it.
I don't know. I mean, it's like he knew that she was going to die, so he doesn't feel bad that she was going to die, in my opinion. It must have been just the object, and he was like, "Damn, like we just left some important shit." Like he doesn't know who has it necessarily, so maybe it's that.
It felt to me like a disturbance in the Force type of.
Yeah.
It's just like he felt her, like hearing this information. He felt that something like something's wrong, basically.
Yeah, and I could see, honestly, it felt like earlier in the episode they made it some kind of a connection through the Force when they were talking through the door and he put his hand up and he kind of waited. So maybe it is that they are just a little bit connected now. Kind of like, as you said, I think, Isaiah, about how we kind of got a similar connection between Rey and Kylo Ren in how they were kind of connected that way. Maybe he connected to her and he felt that either she got stabbed or that some shit was going to go down. She heard the thing and maybe she's got a renewed interest now. I don't know what she's going to do with the information. Vader's not going to, unless she's going to try again to get back in good graces with Vader, which obviously is not going to happen because she tried to murder him. So what's she going to do? Go and try and kill Uncle Owen and Luke on Tatooine? She going to go try and kill Obi-Wan for leaving her there? She knows where Obi-Wan's going to go.
What do we do with her like after this? Like, if I was in the boardroom, if you really want to save her for like future like stories or something, just have her go rogue and then have her show up in another show as like some solo I don't even know what to call her, like a rebel or something. I don't know.
A Ventress kind of, how like Ventress was with Dooku and then she broke off. Yeah.
Or even Maul, like how he had like his own little collective, like something like that. Like I don't think necessarily she needs to return to Obi-Wan. I don't think she needs to return to Vader. She doesn't really rock with either one of them. Obi-Wan just left you to die, and Vader just tried to kill you. Go do your own thing at this point. Like I don't really know what their move is with her. I feel like they're going to have her in the next episode. I really feel like they should just let her go somewhere else. But I don't know.
Isaiah, you kind of just gave me hope that we'll see if there is a season 2 that maybe she'll link up with Darth Maul for revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's the only thing keeping that man alive is revenge against Kenobi. And as I said, I love Darth Maul.
Planet, isn't he?
No, he's been off that garbage planet for a long time. He's running the Crimson Dawn crime syndicate.
That's Clone Wars, the garbage planet?
Yeah, that's Clone Wars when his brother finds him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, but we're giving them too much credit. Like this is all hypotheticals. I feel like they're going to bring her next episode. She's going to link up with Obi-Wan. Oh, you dropped this, or like I'm like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be something
now.
dumb.
I want to protect the boy because I don't want the same thing to happen to him as happened to me. Maybe that'll be her redemption. Maybe she'll turn good.
She's alive, and we'll see him in the next Mandalorian series since Luke is.
Yeah, I was going to say
maybe.
Here's my pitch. Let her go after Grogu. Bring her into the Mandalorian. Make her a bounty hunter all of a sudden. Like, what if she's just like, you know what? I gotta pay my hospital bills. I need to make some coin. I'm gonna go after. I gotta pay Thundercat repairing people up down on Tatooine, and I'm gonna go after them. But I need to make some money on the side, so I'm gonna start bounty hunting. She'd be good at it. We can see that she's good at it.
Maybe she should become a bounty hunter.
I think it would be fun to see her on The Mandalorian because I think that's kind of where she fits in more. It's like the revenge, the chasing, the scared of fighting. I don't know. Matt.
She'd be a little old.
What's your pick? She'd be a little old, but you know.
She could join the Mandalorian, so you can join his squad because
this logistically makes no sense in the timeline, but I don't care. Let's just retcon.
I think she's going to die next episode, like 100%.
Oh yeah, she's dying.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
I think she's going to die by the end of the series.
For sure.
I think the likely outcome for her again is that maybe we will try and get an actual redemption from her. Maybe she'll try and protect Luke, or something might happen. Which I kind of hope it doesn't happen. You can't
have her protect Luke without someone knowing Luke exists, which would destroy the entire narrative. That wouldn't make any sense. So basically, it has to die with her. The information, basically, that's like the only.
And she barely heard any of it,
right?
As well.
She doesn't know whose kid it is.
She heard the children, Tatooine, the boy, Owen, and then she's like, "Oh wait, I know that guy. I almost chopped his fucking head off."
Yeah, what are the chances? Obi-Wan, I know you told me not to contact.
Is that the same Owen?
Tatooine? Damn, is that the same guy?
Yeah, same guy. There's only
the children.
On Tatooine,
very
right?
special Tatooine.
Yeah. Did he find out about the children? Yeah, what a mess. Seth says Sith buddy cop series. I would love it. I would love to see it. So we have one episode left of the series as of now, unless they make a season 2. What are you guys hoping for in the last episode? Do you think it's going to be longer? I heard a rumor today that it was going to be maybe an hour and a half long, which please give me a movie length episode of this show. I was under the impression that all of these would be close to movie length, so at least give me one. What do you guys think we might get next week?
I think first of all, I don't think it makes sense for Vader and Obi-Wan to interact anymore in this series, because it's just going to overcomplicate things. I think he's going to drop Leia off. I think everyone's going to go their separate ways, and I'm assuming they're going to leave off with some huge cliffhanger with Obi-Wan meeting with some Jedi that we are familiar with. Maybe there's also a chance that we could see a Vader and Palpatine scene, possibly. I don't expect any fighting, though. I just think this is just going to be like, all right, let's end this to the point where we're not messing up any timeline stories with future movies that already exist, and just leave it in a low key area. So I don't expect anything too crazy. Just maybe some cameos.
Yep. Matt, Naomi, what do you guys think?
I just want to see Qui-Gon Jinn. That's all I care about.
One track mind over here. Qui-Gon.
I'm sure we'll go back to Tatooine as usual. There'll be some type. I don't know. We'll drop Leia off. Thank God. I think it should have only been 2 episodes of Leia, but they'll drop her off. I think they'll go back to Tatooine. There'll be something with Reva happening on Tatooine. I'm sure she'll show up and threaten Obi-Wan with knowledge or something. And then I don't think there could be much more than that. I don't know where else they can go.
Interesting. I mean, I'm Team Qui-Gon with you. I'm Team Mace Windu actually alive kind of thing, but my hopes are dashed for that right now.
So freaking happy, but I'm not gonna. I'm sure Samuel Jackson will do it.
Samuel Jackson will show up anywhere for a paycheck, and I love that about him. What I really want to see is okay, we know that part of why Darth Vader blows up Alderaan is because of Leia, right? I want to see the origins of the Darth Vader Alderaan Princess Leia feud. You know what I mean? I want her to be like, "Fuck you, old man. I hate your stupid mask." And he's like, "I'm going to blow up her planet one day." Like, I want to see the evolution of, like, you know, this is like, it's the only thing I can think of at this point, because she's still in the story. Bail Organa's still in the story. Like, we really, I guess, you know, the fun thing to walk away from this series would be to see the Rebel Alliance forming, to see Leia basically be like, you know what, I want to lead these people to safety and to victory. That would be cool. Will we get it? Who fucking knows? I feel like they were like, oh yeah, Leia's just gonna get captured or whatever. Should we have any emotional storyline with her? Nah. Obi-Wan just likes her because he was a friend of her mom. Okay, great, moving on.
Yeah, I could see if the episode is as long as we want it to be. I could see them.
Isn't it like an hour and 33? Haven't I seen that? Like,
that's what I saw something like that. I
hope
too.
So,
and I really hope so too.
Yeah, 33 minutes of credits.
I was gonna make the same joke. I hope that they give us enough time to start wrapping this up in a thoughtful way that sets us up for the future. Because yeah, I mean, this all makes sense. Leia is seeing all of this play out in real time. She's seeing what the Empire is doing to the world or the universe. She's seeing the impact that people like Tala have and people like Obi-Wan have to get people to safety. It makes sense that she would end up as, you know, a general in the rebellion and then in whatever else they call the resistance or whatever. So, I mean, it makes sense that this is the cause that she would dedicate her life to. I just hope we do get a chance to see it. Unless it's like, oh, we're just going to make a Leia series now. You know, you never know what Disney's going to do. But yeah, I know we don't need it. But
we're going to see a Force Ghost.
I hope that we see Qui-Gon's Force Ghost. I hope what I think is going to happen to Reva is I think Obi-Wan's going to sense that Luke is in danger. I think she's going to try and get to Tatooine somehow. He's going to intercept her and he's going to kill her in order to protect Luke. I think he's going to do it. He killed Maul. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he kill her? I mean, I can see it. I can see it. Because you're right, Matt. I think the only way that it makes sense is if the information dies with her and she's not able to pass it along.
Ooh, that'd be cool. Like a reverse Rogue One. She dies. It don't work out.
Yeah.
And she's just like, well, I could have told you about your kids, but you had to go and try and kill me. So that's your problem.
Yeah.
And when you get sued for child support, I'm not helping.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Cool. Well, any final thoughts about this episode? Anything else to say before we start plugging and saying our goodbyes?
No, I'm very curious and skeptical how they're going to end this series. It can either go, I don't know if this is real. I'm not really in a place where I'm like, there's a chance for an excellent ending. There's either disappointment or satisfying. There's one or the other. So I think the whole Reva thing, that's literally the only thing that can make or break, since they gave her such an important role in the season. So I'm just very curious to see what they do with her. But you know, I feel like Obi-Wan's not going to die. Darth Vader's not going to die. It's like, you know, Leia's not going to die. Like she's the only important character.
There's only so many ways we can go. Yeah. Luke and Owen are fine. We know that. Yeah, there's only so many things that can happen.
Yeah.
For me, the best thing to see would be like, you know, I know we said like they can't really interact with each other, but one final like Darth Vader taking off the mask and be like, look what you did to me. You say you loved me. I look like this now. So screw you. I hope you rot. I would love something like that. Just like one final, like, you can't keep claiming that you were my brother when you left me like this.
Yeah. One final, I hate you.
Give them a Kylo Ren race scenario where they're connected by the Force or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, look what you did.
Yeah.
FaceTime. Yeah. Force time. Beautiful.
Yeah. Force time. Exactly. Matt dropped. I think he might have some technical issues, but hopefully he'll be back by the time we say goodbye. Isaiah, what do you have going on? What do you want to plug?
Too much. Let's see. I'm
busy man.
You know, I'm
busy
always over here. You can find me at 8 Ball Bangers. I'm podcasting here about a bunch of stuff now. So movies, Total Drama Island, Marvel stuff, and Star Wars. That's always fun. You can find me. I was on the Kivas podcast, 32 Fans, talking about the best music in the 21st century. That was
fun.
crazy. at the end of the month, I'll be on Purple Pants podcast with Bryce Isaiah talking about music. And then Big Brother starting on RHAP soon, so you should see me over there as well.
And what podcast did you just do, Isaiah, that you got that last minute call for?
I don't want to talk about it.
Listen to 30.
It's not my podcast to talk about, but yeah.
Okay.
Your musical expertise is always, I think, wanted to be listened to.
For sure.
I like to call everything trash. Yes. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Naomi.
Hello.
Where can we find you these days?
There. Well, do I have shows for you? First of all, I was just on the Challenge All-Stars recap with Carrie, and it was incredible. So much fun. I cannot recommend listening to that episode enough. We are, honestly, the three of us were so fucking funny. And second of all, I wanted to say that I am coming up with a Taskmaster podcast very soon on Silent Podcast. So you should listen to that. It's called Bosch, which only makes sense if you watch Taskmaster, but 2 shows covering Champions of Champions. I'm super excited. I'm going to start releasing that media soon. And I'm like, I got the rollout plan. So stay tuned for that by following me on Twitter at Naomi Calhoun. Isn't that a novel idea? And additionally, I am going to be on RHAP's The Pride is Spoken pretty soon, which I'm super psyched about.
Amazing.
We're doing a big old round table with a lot of amazing podcasters. So tune in for that. And Top Chef ended. Watch Top Chef, and then we'll listen to our podcast. So that's all I got.
Do a binge. Like I said, I think Matt's having some technical difficulties, so you can go ahead and give him a follow if you like what he has to say on Twitch. He streams on twitch.tv/glances. He's got a lot going on that stream, so definitely go ahead and drop him a follow. It's a lot of fun. You can also follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/realslimkatie with an underscore at the end. Same thing, a lot going on that stream over there. It's free to drop a follow if you'd like to show some support, so it's always much appreciated if you do so. We talk about a lot of things over there, play some games, talk reality TV and all Star Wars and all the things. So come stop by and say hey. You can also follow me on Twitter at realslimkatie. And I am also doing things on Silent Podcast. We just recently finished Carrie and I recently finished our Real World Homecoming New York coverage. So if you are binging that show, if you're not, you should, if you haven't watched it already. But we just recently had a really amazing conversation with Melissa Beck, who's my reality TV #1 icon of all time ever since the year 2000. Literally the most I've peaked in life. And she was amazing. So we really hope to have her back, just talking about some other stuff here and there too, not necessarily only Real World. So she is amazing. You can also listen to the coverage of the season. We had a really great time covering that show. You can also hear us every week talking about Real Housewives on the Cool Water Show. We talk about all things in the Real Housewives universe. And I believe she and I are going to start talking about the Challenge USA. If I'm not going to be there every week, I will be there multiple weeks at least. So I'm excited to start covering that soon. And then Isaiah and I and a few others will be talking Big Brother over here on Silent Podcast as well once that comes back. So got a lot going on, a lot in the pipeline. So definitely check us out. Give us a follow. Speaking of follow, you can, let me pull up the banner. There's so many things to look at. You can give us a follow on social media on Silent Podcast. Sorry, my banner's still up here. You can ignore that. You can give us a follow on Silent Podcast, where you can find us on Twitch at Silent Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Silent_Podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. Thank you. You can find us on YouTube at Silent Podcasts. And you can also find us anywhere you listen to your podcast. So give us a rating or review. It really helps us get discovered. Drop us 5 stars if you are so inclined, if you like what you hear here. It helps us in the algorithm and get discovered. So really appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening to us. We have 1 episode left of The High Ground. And who knows, maybe we'll want to talk some more Star Wars down the line or do some one-off episodes. We'll see. We'll talk. We'll see what we want to come up with. But I'm excited to see what comes next. And until next week, we will talk to you. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
And commenting. I love the chat.
Yes, me too.
I love the chat.
Thank you, chatters. Bye, all.
Bye.